Hi, I'm Mike, owner of the In-Groove in Phoenix, Arizona. Today I'm going to do a couple of more boxes of the Mega Singles collection. This is a collection of about 30 to 35,000 45s, punk, new waves, garage, psychedelic, mostly from the 70s and 80s, but even into the 90s and O's. I'm going to do box 3 and box 127. Both of these boxes I have not seen. The way this collection came, some of the key stuff I looked at, but the rest I have not gone through. Let's see. We are in the A's. Obsession, good tune. House of the Rising Sun, good tune. As you can see, a little all over the place. Angelic Upstarts. So this is box number 3. So I want to say the first 70 boxes were part of his main collection. So you're going to find mostly stuff from the 70s and 80s in these boxes. Now that's not to say that he didn't have, all throughout his collection, he was going back and he was buying stuff and adding it to his collection. But he kind of chunked them up into about 3 separate collections. And so far, the best stuff has actually been in these earlier boxes. Although I found, a Misfits, a couple of Misfits singles in some later boxes. Glenn Danzig, Marilyn Monroe was in a later box. So this is stuff, even into the 90s, if he didn't have it, he went back, or if he was hunting through a record store and he found something, he bought it. The Monkey's Uncle. Well, that's old, 1965. You don't actually see a lot of stuff from this period in his collection. Arctic Circles. Out of Australia. I don't know what the connection was. There's a lot of stuff from Australia. This is a guy who was based in Seattle. But one of the stores or something there must have imported a lot of stuff from Australia, because there's actually quite a lot of Australian stuff in this collection. And it's kind of interesting, because as I've started putting it back on Discogs, a lot of the Australian stuff is actually going back to Australia. But there must have been a store that he frequented that was importing a lot of stuff. Seattle was a really good record scene in the in the 80s when he was building this collection. But he told me he would go to LA every time he had the opportunity to buy records. Everywhere he went, he'd be buying, and that's the only way you could really achieve a collection like this. But he would go to Canada. He had dealers all over the West Coast that were holding stuff that he wanted to buy. They were calling him up, and he was every week making the rounds, collecting this stuff. One of the things, though, with this particular collection, he was really picky on condition. So everything is extremely clean. And if you found something and bought it used, you know, like that Misfits single, you probably got that just based on where it was in the collection. You probably got that in the 90s. That Glenn Danzig, Marilyn Monroe. But it was like it was, you know, brand new. So my guess is, you know, he probably passed on a lot of really cool stuff that wasn't in his collection to keep condition high. And, you know, at some point, I'm guessing he probably thought that, you know, I'll just run into it in the future. You know, I'm guessing, God, a lot of those Misfits singles were probably no more than, I don't think any of them were more than $100 in the mid 90s, if that. Probably, you know, $50, $40 record. So you probably think to yourself, hey, you know, I'll just probably run into that in the future, and when it's clean enough, I'll buy it. Then the internet. Boy, that looks really good. Balloons for the Dog. Random Radar Records. And then Asia. Heat of the moment. Very cool. Automatic Kids. Let's see. Honestly. All right, so that is it for box 3. Move this stuff aside. And this is box 127, so this would have been a little later in his collection. A lot of Clash stuff in his collection, which is nice. White Light, White Heat. What? The few things. Some Beatles. No big deal. That's actually pretty nice. That's a West Coast. Maybe you're a rich man. Oh, frick. Somebody put the damn date on it. Oh, well. It's actually a dupe. I'm pretty sure there was another one of those in another box. Some Susie the Banshee. So typically when he had a lot of dupes, it was because of color variations. But that looks like that's a standard. That's a poster sleeve. That's a poster sleeve. Nope, he just bought a bunch. Boy, that is cool. Limited edition picture disc. First day covers. I've actually never seen this. So it is Planet Claire and Rock Lobster on a square picture disc. Very cool. I wonder what went there and there. Have to research that. This is looking like a cool box. What is that? helicopters. Some stray cats. I saw a private concert once in was old job I had. It was a private concert. It was Brian Setzer and his full orchestra. What is that? Some Rolling Stones promotional discs. Maybe there'll be a nice Street Fighting Man single in here with the picture sleeve. Anyways, Brian Setzer. It was a private concert. You know, full orchestra, 50 people there. You know, 50 person band. And nobody there could care less. It was actually taking place like in like a common area in the middle of three buildings. And he's there and he's just going to town. And I want to say there wasn't maybe but 10 people watching. I mean, it was, you know, Brian Setzer, 50 people behind him. They're just going to town, and there couldn't have been, like I said, 10 people in that audience. And it was kind of funny. At the end of the show, he threw the pick into the audience. There was no audience. He just threw the pick onto the to the concrete floor, and that was it. He left the stage, and everybody walked away. I walked right over there and grabbed the pick. There was no competition. Bunch more cramps. But it was a great show. He didn't care, you know. He probably got a pile of money to do that. Style Council. But yeah, it came out to the Batman theme. Then he kind of did a kind of a three-piece set. But this is a little all over the place of a box. So there's not a lot of rhyme or reason. This was just he was buying stuff and he was dumping into this box. What is this? Released through Demon Records, The Imposter. Nice Planet Clear sleeve. That is not one you actually see very often. Check it out. Pretty cool. Some Cure. Stone Roses, Sisters of Mercy. Christina. Boy George. I saw the Culture Club at a casino actually about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. B'52's open. It was an outside event and it was absolutely pouring rain. I mean, we were getting absolutely, completely drenched. It was like a monsoon. It was a monsoon, not like a monsoon. It was a full-blown monsoon. They called the show off for a little while. Went inside, you know, it was at a casino. It's probably good for them. I know a lot of people went inside to the casino. Came back out to the show a little lighter in the pockets like myself. Yo, baby doll. OMD. Birdland. That was a cool show. I went for the B'52's actually, but Culture Club is actually quite good. Tracy Ullman, Talking Heads. King Kurt. I think there was a couple of his first single in another box. Go for a nice pretty penny. Yeah, this has been a cool box because it truly is just a bunch of random stuff that was thrown into a box. And there's a lot of his collection is not like that. What is that? The Budget Ranch box. To 1,000. All right, guys, that's box number 3 and 27. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Until next time.